Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? I'm going to give it a couple minutes to let everybody hop on here. Hopefully we get a few more people in the room, and feel free, to there's a chat box. Anything that you want to go over, ask me any questions that you want about the market, trading, whatever pairs are going on that you want me to look at for you. I'm down to do, and I want to introduce myself to you and all the other people that hop on here, and and just really go over the market. So I'm going to give it just a couple more minutes. If you have any questions, you can tell me your experience level or where you're coming in from. That would be amazing. I'd love to know who else is here or what else, where you're tuning in from. I just realized that, it's 5 o'clock here in the United States. So a lot of people, like in the UK right now, it's 11 p.m. So maybe the timing's not the best for it, but so if it's super late where you're at, man, thanks for staying up and doing that. So I appreciate it. So yeah, that being said, I'm going to go over the euro. I'm going to go over the dollar index, and I'm going to go over. I just sent GBP USD trade out to the free group, so I want to go over that. Want to look at gold and introduce my kind of philosophy, market philosophy, to the group, to all the people that are here. So that being said, man, I don't know what. To all the people that are on here, I don't know what your experience level is. I don't know how you found trading, how you found Forex, or whatever you're trying to trade, stocks, gold. I can definitely tell you it's 100% changed my life, and I do this every single day. And so, like, I want to all the people out there that end up finding me, I want to offer a new opportunity. Maybe you've been trading for a while and it's just not working out for you. And I think I have something different to offer whoever it is that ends up finding me, because I do, not to say that other people don't care, because I'm sure some of them do, but I'm doing this all day, every day. And, the community that's popped up around it, really reflects that for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and let's get into looking at some pairs. And Jenny, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, hit me a message in the chat. If you want to look at, any pairs in particular, I'm going to go over the dollar pairs. We had a great day of trading, and the dollar's been super weak. So how did I know that the dollar was going to be thanks, appreciate it. How did I know the dollar is going to be strong today? And I want to share that to you. And my method of trading is more, I'm looking at correlation of markets, like not just your standard technical analysis, Fibonacci's, trend line, support and resistance. Like, anybody can learn that kind of thing or teach that. But the way I go about it is I'm looking at all the different possibilities, all the different setups, and looking how the market flows together, because it's like one gigantic flow chart. So this picture I just shared, I don't know where you all are at on your journey right now, but that was me like 5 years ago here. I was in Nashville. I was doing construction. It's like 105 degrees in here in the summer. You can see I have a beard and super long nappy hair, but I was happy doing that every day, but I knew I had to do something else. I had to find, like, there's something in me that's like, man, I can't, this isn't all that life's about. And when I found trading, it gave me a straight up purpose in life. And nothing, it's not like always easy. That's definitely for sure. But I wake up every day and it's never boring. And when I had to wake up every day and do this, it was boring. I was tired. I didn't get to live the life I wanted to live, and it sucked. And I didn't make any money. I made like $12 an hour. That's like barely enough to live on here in Nashville. So, man, so I'm glad whoever, that's all the people that just got on here, thanks for hopping on. You can answer or ask any questions in the chat box, and let's start looking at the market. So anything that you want to look at, like for real, let me know. This is your time, with me, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So going over this, and it's actually good. Like I just charged my iPad up. I like to trade off of it. I use TradingView as well, but I like the iPad. And I don't know if you've ever got on your phone and all the charts are deleted and everything you had drawn is deleted off there. So that's exactly what happened. Like 5 minutes before I hopped on here, but actually it's pretty good because you guys can see like how I actually go through the process of doing all this stuff from start to finish. So if you've been watching my videos, I've been talking about the euro a bunch. I've been talking about gold a bunch. Been talking about US dollar, Japanese yen a ton. And if you can start to see how these different pairs link together, you can this will make trading so much easier. Like the actual trading part is super hard. It's not easy. But it makes it a lot simpler because a lot of times you get down and you're like, okay, I'm sitting in front of my computer. Now what do I do? So if you can start to see how everything's connected, I promise you it will really unlock. You can start to see the market as everything tied together instead of like one chart, one chart, one chart, one chart. So if we're looking at the Euro USD here, if I take this off completely, you can see that we had this super long downtrend and kind of a V bottom here. And now we've reversed, or at least we're trying to reverse. And so you can really see that by this just simple trend line that I drew. And I like to keep things super, super simple. Like, when I was starting out, I would go find a new mentor, find somebody else, and it'd be like somebody had a bunch of crap on their screen, and I was like, "Oh, this guy must know what he's talking about." and then it just confused me more. I don't know if anybody out there can relate. If and I would just go from one person to one person to one person, but until I kind of found a mentor and was able to simplify things, it all changed around for me. So you can see here, I can just start sketching this out with a couple trend lines, and you can see how we've already started to move into more or less a new market. So now I'm starting on a daily chart, and then I go smaller and smaller and smaller and zoom in. And this is super important because you want to utilize different time frames. So from that daily chart, this is the trend line that I drew here. And now I'm going to want to, you see, this is the reversal, the breakout, and then the retest. And now this is what I was looking at today because I sent that sell stop order into the free group and for Euro USD. And this is it right here. And this is the move that we just caught. So how did I know that was going to happen, or what made me think that was going to happen? And I don't know your all's experience level, but there's something called the dollar index. And the dollar index is a basket where it weighs the strength of the dollar against all the other currencies in the market. And Euro USD makes up 50% of that. But let me go to a different. Okay. And so you can see the dollar index is a complete inverse of Euro USD. So if I zoom out, you can see here is the dollar index, okay? Here is Euro USD. It's the exact same chart, but it's upside down, right? So it's inversely correlated. And the way I trade is I trade by correlations. And maybe this sounds complicated, but I swear to you it's not, with a little bit of training. So, just a few simple trend lines, mapping it out like this is all I need to do to know that, that I think this is one going higher, but maybe not before we get a dip coming the other way. And the reason I knew that I'll just go over here to the dollar index, because the dollar index more or less measures the strength of the dollar. So if I zoom out here, like I said, inversely correlated. There's an inverse head and shoulder, head, shoulder, shoulder, and then just kind of this sloping range. And you can see, if you remember 2 weeks ago, that the dollar was super, super weak. Had a big breakdown. Gold just went the other way, rallied super high, which I was talking about in a lot of my YouTube videos. But you can see here that now the dollar index measures the strength of the dollar. I shared this chart in that group, in your group, by the way. We had a false breakdown, right? So this looked to be a trend line break. And the thing is, a lot of times you get a fake out or a false breakdown. And if that occurs, that typically leads to a breakout, to higher prices. And so now I can just map this out a few different ways. And now I have an upside target here, right? Because if I believe, and I definitely do, that a false breakdown, if you're taking notes, like write this down. I teach this in my course. A false breakdown usually, not always, nothing's always in trading, usually leads to a breakout. So, and if you're looking at this, what does this look like, right? If you know, you can say it in the chat. No. Okay. Yeah. So it's an inverse head and shoulders here, right? So if we zoom in, or maybe go to a 4-hour chart, this is definitely an inverted head and shoulders. Head, shoulder, shoulder. And so what does that mean, right? We had this dollar strength today, and I know this doesn't look like much, but the moves that happened in the dollar today, this was it, right? So this is how I knew Euro USD was going to break down. We did catch a short in GBP USD, but now we're long. I sent that trade out to you guys and girls, and now, but the thing is, we have a huge upside target here, right? So I think typically when you have these triangle formations, like I love trading triangles. When you have these, this is what, an upside target looks like. So, are we going to go straight there? Probably not. But tomorrow's Friday, we can get a big rally in the dollar. That's definitely possible. And as long as we stay above this trend line, the risk is that we're going higher in the dollar. So, and I'm going to just show a couple more charts and take some questions if you guys have them. I know it's might be late. Some of you might be in the UK. So, but just like I made that triangle formation, right? On Euro USD and on the dollar index, here we are on USD JPY. And this is probably my favorite, not probably, it's my favorite Forex pair to trade. And I'll show you why. We have a nice triangle here. And like I said, I trade correlated markets, and I trade a lot of, I look at the S&P 500, I look at the US stock market, and I look at, gold. And this is a great example of what I just said about a false breakdown usually leads to a breakout, right? Remember, in the dollar index, false breakdown usually leads to a breakout. Okay, cool, Stu. So Stu, you had a great question. His question was how do I usually trade Euro USD in reverse of the dollar index? So I'll show you I'm gonna go back to Euro right after this and answer that question, right? So, and that's a great question. So right here, this is just a huge triangle formation, right, on US dollar JPY. And you may be like, dude, you drew that trend line wrong, right? Because it's going through here. But, I'm using these spots here on these arrows, fractals, to show me where these pressure points in the market are. So that's definitely a super important way to know when these false breakdowns happen. So right here, breakdown, right? And it looked like a huge sell-off in the dollar yen. And of course, this right here happened with the Iran conflict last week. And this is a perfect example. False breakdown, right? So we almost broke down out of here. We hit some major support. And you can see this huge wick, right? So that big wick means that there were buyers at the bottom buying up that low price, buying it. And so the value of the dollar is appreciating against the yen. So, and that's all that trading is. That's all we're doing. We're trying to get dollars at a cheaper price against yen or against the euro. And it's really, if you can start to simplify it like that, it starts to make way more sense. So how did I know that the dollar was going to be strong? And I'm looking at the fact that we had this false breakdown, and a false breakdown typically leads to a breakout, right? So here we are, we've broken out. This is a massive breakout, right? So in the VIP group, we have a sell limit. I don't even know if it'll hit at 109 or buy limit at 109.70. But man, if you can get a dip right here on UJ, maybe the dollar's weak tomorrow. This thing's going way higher, probably to 112-ish area. So you want to look for a good entry. And right here is where I would do some sort of Fibonacci. And so the next target is going to be this 78.6 level. But anyways, I digress. But the important thing to remember here is that this false breakdown has led to this breakout in the dollar against the yen. And so knowing that hey, UJ's already broken out. The dollar index has a false breakdown, just like UJ, and we have a ton of upside to go here in the dollar index. That's when I went to Euro USD, to get back to your question, Stu, and was like, man, this thing isn't going to break out yet. We're probably going to get some sort of bounce first. If not, an even bigger one. So just like I said, a false breakdown typically leads to a breakout. A false breakout leads to a breakdown. Now, but Stu, to answer your question a little bit better, how would I trade Euro USD versus the dollar index inversely? So first of all, if I go to an hourly chart, I could go over here to the dollar index. And this morning when I was looking at it, I was just like, oh man, that looks like an inverted head and shoulders. And we're retesting this trend line. So if the dollar index goes up, and say we go up to 97.6, if this happens, and that would complete this inverted head and shoulders patterns, right? Hopefully you'll see that. If we go to that level, then that's going to mean if the dollar index goes up, Euro USD is going to go down, right? So inversely to that, if Euro USD continues to break out and breaks higher, which I definitely think it could do, because right how I started this off, I talked about this being in a reversal pattern, how this could definitely be a breakout. If this goes up, then we're going to see the dollar index. Go down. We most likely see something like that. Stu, I hope that answers your question, man. And if you have any more questions about that or need me to clear it up, let me know. So let's go to gold. Everybody wants to know about gold always. And hey, I do too, for sure. We'll take a look at gold real quick. And it looks like we were going to break out higher, right? And we had this huge false breakout, right? So just like I was saying, a false breakout typically leads to a breakdown. This is what's going on here. So this was the whole Iran conflict, and we got a big rejection here. It's very important, like I said earlier, to check on bigger time frames. So here I'm on the weekly time frame. Using the Fibonacci here, we got rejected right at the 61.8 level. So the 61.8 is called the golden fib ratio. There's a couple Fibonacci levels that are the most important ones where you usually see reversals, and the 61.8 is the big daddy of them all. And so mark that off. So it's going to take a lot for us to break out above that. Now we are in what looks like a bit of a corrective phase here. So this is the daily chart. This was today's candle. Not quite bearish, but now this is how I'm looking at gold personally right now. I do think we're going to go lower because we've been holding down right above or right below this level of resistance. And this is a super big level of resistance because you look at it, when you see a big gap in the market like this, and this was obviously that huge, this was when the markets opened on Sunday and we just bombed Iran or Iraq in that Iranian general. But anyways, so this is a significant level of resistance we gotta move past. And so just like I said, it's important to use these fractals how I use them, at least, and that's why I like them on the iPad. And you can see we have this level right here. So what I'm watching for, and there's multiple levels here. I have a section in my training called the X marks the spot trade. And like I said, I try to make this as simple as possible because when I overcomplicate things, when I overcomplicate, it's turns into a crapshoot. So here we are. Now what am I looking for here? Where are we going next? And this is the big question. So this was the massive bull flag that we were trading in and we broke out of during Christmas, right? So you can see learning these structures is so important. So and I teach this in my course. This is your textbook bull flag. So we've broken out from there. And what I'll do to make it so important to have targets is make a target from here using Fibonacci from that low to this high. And you can see, remember, the 61.8 is super important, right? So this is my downside target for here if we break lower. So there's so many factors in gold right now with the stock market, interest rates, and why I do think it's going to go up to 1700 this year. But you can see how we're falling off on the RSI down here. And I know I'm giving you a ton of information, so I apologize if I overload it, but I want to give you all as much value as I can on this free training as possible. So what I'm looking at for gold, and for you guys out there at home, what you should be paying attention to, I thought we broke down from it a couple days ago. This 1547 level, I don't know if the box is in the way, but 1547 right here, we need to get below that. And but once we do, then I think we're going to have some more significant downside. And this will allow the RSI to reset itself, and for more buyers to come in the market at a better price. Because remember, what I just said is the only thing we're trying to do here is we're trying to buy. In case of gold, it really makes a lot of sense. We're trying to buy gold at a cheaper price, right? So do we want to buy it at $1,500 and $50 an ounce, or do we want to wait, save $50 an ounce and wait till 1,500? And a lot of investors out there are going to be wanting to buy it at a cheaper price, and so that's why I think it's gonna retrace first, and then really going to rally, because we want to look at it on the weekly chart. If you can start looking at it on these bigger time frames. I know this is looking like a bit of a mess now, but this would make perfect sense, right? Because we would have the RSI, the market would have a little time to reset itself. And remember, we're looking for the market to make higher highs and lower highs to establish an uptrend. And this type of candle right here, this is just a huge doji candle, and that's really a sign of some sort of top in the market. So I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit so you can see it better. This looks like a top in the market. So we get a move down here, or maybe even retest this breakout point. So and then I think we're going much higher. And gold is moving so fast that this could happen tomorrow. But you can see how we have higher high, lower high, and then we just made another higher high. So a high, this takes out this one right here. So typically, the market moves like this, and I think that's what we're carving out now. And then if I can zoom out of here, and I think it's just a matter of time. If we make another run for it, we make a move up to here. That's 1750. So I'm telling you right now, if you want to make a bunch of money this year, wait for this thing to find its bottom. I don't think we're here yet. I think we're going to carve out another bottom. Like, it's easy to not be patient, especially with gold. Everybody gets burned in gold, I'm telling you, especially new traders, because they're like, oh, gold. And it's like this thing that, it's like mysterious, and everybody wants gold since like the Egyptian times. So, but that's the thing, you got to be careful trading it. But if we can get down here to say this 50% retracement, right? So we hit the 61.8, bounced off. And if we can come down this 1492 level and put in some buys here and prepare to hold them all year, hold them until we hit 1750. Say you have a $10,000 account, and with 1 to 200 leverage, and you put one lot trade on there, man, you would have easily doubled your account, and I guess it would be like quadrupled it by the time we hit 1750, right? So this is a huge opportunity, and I'm going to be trading it all year. That is for sure, especially if this plays out. So right now this is in like a bit of a holding pattern right here. It's in a range. It's super frustrating, and I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if we got a move right to there, and then potentially a move lower, because that would be the fake out, right? The move moves up, buyers come in, and people's like, oh, shit, it's going to 1600 again. And then that's when the big banks pulls the rugs out from under everybody. And that, you know how that goes. Because you've probably been there before, if you've been around long enough, that's for sure. So, but then another move to higher, I think is what's going to happen. So, so yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I see one over here. So I always get stopped out by a false break. I can never really tell when it's false. What's a really good indicator that it's a false breakout? Okay, so that's a great question. Let me go to, let me find a good false breakout. If I can remember one off the top of my head, and I do, actually. So we'll go to Euro AUD. So I remember there's a huge false breakout here, and I know I was like, man, I was pissed at myself because I didn't get it. And so this is a great example. So a false breakout like this, Jenny, you know, if there's a situation that just happened recently, let me know. But a lot of times, what you want to do is you want to wait until the market closes. And I know that's easier said than done, and nobody wants to do that because you're like, I want to get the best entry possible. So, you know, on a 1 hour candle, right? And I'm showing this because I bought up here and I got, you know, killed. And so I remember this, that's why I went right to this chart. And we had one push out and I was like, oh man, it's breaking out. Then a retest. So, you know, when you have a breakout and then a retest, and I was like, oh man, okay, so there's the retest. And here we go. And you can see this is a great example of another false breakout leads to a breakdown. So I'll get to that. So, but what happened here is that I thought this was a breakout and a retest, and put in a buy right around, I thought I had just the sniper baller entry, and we had this little move up, and then a complete rejection here. And I, of course, got stopped out. So how do you know that it's a false breakout and that it's false is, you know, the best way to do it is to wait. You know, so had I waited until like this is a great example of a false breakout, definitely led to a breakdown. And God, I wish I got into this trade, right? If you just sold it right there and waited till it came down, you would have killed it. So, but the best thing you can do is to wait until till it closes, and this is a great example for the GBP USD trade that I sent out to the free group to you all, and we had a breakout. So, but you want to wait. You want to make sure that it's actually broken out, and you know, it's hard to tell a lot of times in this market because the market hadn't been that volatile. But so in the VIP group, we sold it right here at 1.3060, and we caught, you know, we caught 40 pips, our 2 take profit targets, and then we came back up here, and now we're broken out of here. So this is the thing, like if you all took this trade that we're in now, right? So this is the entry. If we do happen to break down back inside of here, then you know that it's a false breakout, 100%. And then, you know, you have a target at least, and you know that, man, this is going to be a serious false breakout. So, but I think to answer your question a little bit better is that the market closed. We had our daily close, you know, not too long ago, and now we started and forming a candle outside of here. So, you know, if we do break down back inside, this would end up being a huge wick. So, but the fact that we're already starting to form candles outside of this trend line is a big signal to me that, hey, we've broken out and now we're going higher. So let me know if that answers your question, or if it didn't. So here we are in this last trade that we're in, and what are the targets? You know, and I'll wrap up with this. Where do we think it's going? So I think that GBP USD is going way, way higher because we are in this huge double top pattern. And we've legitimately talking about breakouts, right? Here's a breakout and then boom, boom. And now we're outside of here for sure. Let's see, it's all. Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem, Jenny. Yeah, and shoot me a message if you need any explanation on that. But you know, the best thing you can do is keep it simple. So where do I think this is going? And you know, when I ask that question, I always go to Fibonacci chart. And you can see here that we're like broken out clearly. And our next big target here, and we've broken out right above this 23.6. So we have this room in here, and you know, I just made that super fast, so I apologize, and I'll backtrack a little bit. So if we're in an uptrend or it's a breakout and I'm drawing my Fibonacci's out, I want to go from top to bottom if I'm looking to evaluate a trend that's going up. Okay, so just remember, if it's going up, you draw your Fibonacci's from top to bottom. And so what I'm looking for here is the 38.2 at least, and more than likely, you know, these levels right here, 1.33. I don't think this is going to happen overnight, but I think it will happen. So especially if we stay broken out of here. So despite the fact that I think the dollar is going to be strong, the pound is kind of its own thing because we got Brexit going on. There's some big pound data tonight, I believe. Let's take a look at this. And so tonight we have, so China GDP, this is going to be super important, especially for the Aussie. And then we have the pound retail sales. So if we get a strong reading on retail sales, oh man, that's going to, you know, our pound trade is going to just take off. So what you want to do is you want to make sure once you get into profit, I need to share this in that group more. And you know, I harp on it in our VIP group to, once you get into profit, make sure that you move your stop loss to entry, because what we want is hopefully this trade gets into some profit before the retail sales out of the UK, and then we can move our stop loss to entry in case it's a bad number and this goes against us. Then, you know, we'll just be taken out at entry here. So hopefully that's not the case, you know, but hopefully we get a good number, and I think there's a chance that we might. So you never know with the news like that. So yeah, if you have any more questions, let me know, and I'm gonna wrap this up. I do want to show you guys the my training course in case you are interested. You know, this is what it looks like inside. I have a beginner section, and you know, the quality it's me, straight up good quality, and I break down best times to trade, beginner mistakes, how to place your trades, how to close partial profits. This is all the kind of risk management beginner stuff. And the intermediate section is the technical analysis, Divergence is a big one. It's one of my big strategies, a 3 drive, and I start to tie everything together. Trading psychology is the most important thing in trading. I don't know, I'm still working on it myself, market structure, when we're talking about bull flags, ascending wedges, descending wedges, double tops, double bottoms. I have everything in here. Here's the X marks the spot trade I mentioned before. I have everything in here that you would need to really get started, right? And plus with the group to back you up and me to help guide you. So, a lot of people out there that are selling courses or trying to be mentors, they don't have, I don't know how it is. I know when I was learning, I tried to message people and never got any instruction or never got any help. And so I remember what that felt like. So I make it a point. I'm in my chat group every day, sharing my charts, sharing my analysis, making these videos. And if you message me, I'll message you back, because this is what I for real do. I love it. It changed my life, and I want to give it back to you guys. So in my advanced section, this is the fundamental analysis where I really go into how technical analysis and tie fundamental analysis together. So this is, my bread and butter correlation, right? At the start, I talked about how important learning correlated markets is. So technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and making a weekly trading plan. And so also in the resources, this is pretty cool. I have a ton of books that I think are the most important resources for you to learn how to use. So really a straight up library on, disciplined trader, Fibonacci, trading in the zone, Elliott waves, candlestick Bible. The cost of the course is like the cost of these books alone. And so anyways, I've uploaded the PDFs for y'all and all that good stuff. So have tons of testimonials on the page. I shared it in our group earlier. So these are real people that are in the group, and we have a blast trading. So let's see, this is what the VIP chat room is going on right now. And I'm telling you, this is like my favorite part about it. So like we're sitting in here, we're having fun, we're sharing charts, and it's like all the people that I've been trading and mentoring for the 3 years since I started doing this, they're all in this group. And what's cool about it is that people that are in there and they've been trading with me for 2-3 years, and they've changed their lives by trading, and they're super good traders now. So like they come up with an idea. They're like, I'm selling Euro NZD here. And then I'm like, oh shit, what's happening with Euro NZD? And then I go over here and I look it up. You know what I mean? Because it's this huge trading community, and I hope it only gets bigger. So that's it. The free training, I'm going to try to do these every now and then. Of course, most of my time is devoted to my group. But if you have any questions, if I didn't answer your question in here, shoot me a message. It's cool. And I know it's super late. Maybe if you're in the UK or South Africa, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate you. And tomorrow's Friday. I can't wait for this week to be over. And I think the Japanese session is picking up now. And so I'm going to get in there and trade it. And thanks for hopping on. I don't know what else to say other than I appreciate you. And I hope you learned something. So wait, just to recap, just to go over what it is that we did. So looking at Euro USD, false breakout or breakdown typically leads to a breakout, right? So this was the breakdown that I gathered from looking at the dollar index, the fact that we had a inverted head and shoulders, a false breakdown, and I'm thinking that's going to lead to a higher move. So knowing that the dollar index is going to rise, or at least thinking it is, then that gave me a signal that it's time to sell Euro USD. And this is our position in the VIP group. You can see we had a great entry here, right at these wicks, gradient entry. Looking at US dollar Japanese yen, we went over that, and we are straight up in. And Jenny, hopefully this answers your question too about how do you know when it's breakout. You know, if this goes back inside, I would be super surprised at this point because we've been hanging out above this line for like 2 days now. So this is a straight up breakout in my opinion. Now, does that mean it can't go back inside? Definitely not. You know, nothing's written in stone in Forex and in trading, that's for sure. But more than likely, I think we're going higher. And if we're talking about correlations, now that's going to take me to gold. If UJ goes higher, just to simplify it, if US dollar Japanese yen moves higher, then you're going to see gold move lower. And this is why I think one of the other reasons why I think gold's going to move lower. Because whether we get a move up first and then a move lower is because of the fact that we've broken out in US dollar Japanese yen. So if UJ goes up, gold goes down. If gold goes up, then I think we're going to see UJ. That would be the catalyst for UJ to break back down inside of here. But that hasn't happened yet. So, and you can see, I don't think I shared this with the that free group that you all are in, but since you're on here, I'm gonna give it to you. We have a sell limit at 109.70, and you look how close we came to hit it. Unfortunately, so I'm waiting here. If we don't get it triggered in the next day or two, I'm gonna just go ahead and buy UJ where it's at. The thing is that we are getting pretty overbought here on the RSI, but you know, if this moves higher, then you can definitely plan on gold moving down. So gold down, or UJ up, gold down, Euro USD up, dollar index down. And just to go back to GBP USD and Jenny's question is that, you know, we've had a slight breakout here and we're forming a new candle on the outside of this trend line. So here we are. Let's see, you know, that news, retail sales later tonight could be the catalyst to, you know, that would make this a false breakout. But if it's some decent data, then this is going to really take off. So, I got a couple questions. Yeah, great. All right. Hey, Debbie, the bishop. Yeah. Hey, man, no worries. And hope you learned something. And you're welcome too, Jenny. I appreciate it. So thanks for asking the question. Thanks for hopping on. And for the people that missed it, I'm going to record, or people that had to hop off, I'll record it and post it on my YouTube. So, all right, everybody, let's finish the week strong. And hopefully I'll see you in my VIP chat room someday. So, all right, peace.